Hi, Joe. How are you doing today?
Very well. Thank you for joining me.
Hey, thanks for having me. I appreciate it. One of the first things that I wanted to ask you is, in the previous season, we really get to see that there's love between Fred and Serena. But in this season, I don't know how I necessarily feel anymore. Do you feel as though throughout their journey, do you feel where we find them in this season that there's love still left? Or is this more of a codependent relationship in order to survive?
Well, great question and brilliant answer. In terms of the latter part, I do think that they've thrown each other under the bus uh, so spectacularly in season three that there's little love left in the room. And I think you're right. I think this is now a marriage forged for the sake of survival. It's a contract, I think now, much as anything else. And I think there's little love between them. I think they've come to see, or certainly, I think Fred for the first time, he always held a candle for Serena, but I think that's blown out a while ago now. I think certainly for Serena, what the pain that Fred has caused her probably leaves her completely shattered and empty for a long time now. But you're right, you summed it up very eloquently. It's a marriage of convenience now.
And when we're given a little bit backstory of where Fred was in the previous seasons, going into the birth of Gilead, he seems so different from where he is now. And I wanted to know, do you feel as though that necessarily it's the lust for power that has overcome him, or do you feel as though sometimes it feels as though Serena has imprinted a little bit of that power in him? Do you feel like it's something that she instilled in him, or was this always there, just lurking, waiting to come out?
It's a gnarly relationship and twisted, it's difficult to unravel. I think it's elements of both. I think that she is a hugely manipulative character, and Fred has allowed those manipulations. He's a weak man that has been afforded a powerful position and thereby can get away with enacting his awful predatory needs. And now it's changed for good. But I think that previously there was a love there was a vision, there was a crusade to make the world a better place. And I think that's what's tragic. I think that's what's really haunting about these two is that there was a potential. Misguided, not my kind of politics that they were happy to espouse before Gilead was in actual kind of actualized, but I don't think they were necessarily evil. I certainly don't think Fred went out to be as evil as he was. He's now needing to survive. It's a little bit like a sort of Macbeth tale of Lady Macbeth and Macbeth. It's you go so far you can't get back, and I think they feel like it might be easier to keep moving on in this horrible way than to get back to a place of sanity. So it's really a cautionary tale about the corrosive effects of power, and as Atwood's novel is a cautionary tale about the fragility of democracy, and the fragility of voice, and the fragility of the female psyche that needs protecting, and the horror of patriarchy, really, and theocracy.
One of the things that I found through all of the characters is really this sense of independence for everyone involved. And we've really seen this with Fred, especially within the season, that Fred is becoming his own person outside of Serena, outside of that bond. And I really wanted to know for you, how has it been as an actor really portraying these different facades that we've actually seen of Fred throughout the course of all of these seasons?
Well, you're right, and thank you for pointing that out. I think there is a lovely added layer this season to Fred, and there's a point where he can separate himself from his wife, as indeed they are physically separated, but he has time to reflect upon himself and their relationship and her part in that relationship. That's not to say that he's the good guy, but he's much more alert and cognizant of the kind of the machinations, if you like, of the relationship. So it's an interesting season for them. So in one sense, he's incarcerated, but in another sense, he's free. He's free of a dynamic, an element of the marriage. And the season is in many ways about freedom, freedom for June, the escape. And also, can you ever be, with the psychological kind of scars, can you ever be free? She might get out of Gilead, but will Gilead ever get out of her brain? And so that's a paradox. So it's a really exciting season in that regard. A lot to chew on.
Yeah, and for my last question, this is something I've really been torn about, especially watching the season. When we talk about the trauma, we talk about the trauma of everyone escaping, but most importantly, is forgiveness possible? And I wanted to know specifically for Fred, do you feel like there is any type of redemption left within him with all of these deeds that he's done?
I mean, I guess the good part in me, and I hope the good part in others, hope that people are redeemable, and you keep the faith for human sake, that there is an evolution, a spiritual evolution. But in some cases, it just doesn't always seem to go that way. Is Fred one of those? I don't know. I think he's evil, but I don't think he's sort of two-dimensional cardboard cutout evil. I think he's human evil, which is more terrifying to me. I think he's complex. Can he redeem himself? He'll come close. There's a lovely scene that he'll have later on with one of our protagonists, and he will reveal how sorry he is. And I think there's always been a part where Fred is horrified at his own actions, and but yet you give him that mahogany desk and those military boots and the double-breasted suits and the position of power, and he'll become the predator again. And so he's aware of his own kind of catch-22, his own fallibility, and that makes him exciting and complex to play for me as an actor.
Well, Joe, thank you so much for taking the time to speak with me. I truly appreciate it, and I hope you have a great rest of your day.
Thank you. Likewise. Pleasure. Thank you so much.
Thank you.